He reached for the trash can, then froze. That moment, the one you just imagined, was a hairline fracture in history. Because if his hand had moved another inch, the cure to infection might have disappeared into a metal bin lined with paper towels, and millions of people might not have lived long enough to be born. This is what happened in that one quiet second inside his mind. The light was flat that morning, soft, sour daylight filtering through the London smog and into a lab that smelled faintly of agar, ink, and too much waiting. My coffee had gone cold again. I reached for the plate. It was ruined, obviously. The mold was back, green, smug, defiant, sprawled across the edge like a fungal trespasser, blooming where it had no business being. I had told them about the drafts in this lab. No one listened. Not to me. Not usually. The bin was there. My hand was moving. But then, a flicker. Not light. Not shadow. Something else. A ring. A silence. Printed in bacteria. As if the mold had whispered, "No." As if it had cleared its throat right through the staff. I froze. Not because I understood, because I didn't. Because for one absurd, traitorous second, I felt like I wasn't alone in the room. The plate, this corrupted, discarded thing, had something to say. And so I looked. Not quickly, not scientifically. Like a man watching a stranger in the fog who knows his name. The bacteria, my stubborn golden staff, had drawn back from the mold in a perfect arc, as if retreating, as if fleeing. I whispered aloud to no one at all. "Ha! That's funny." I should have moved on. There were other plates to review, other failures to stack and carry into obscurity. But this one had teeth, not visibly, not violently, no fireworks, no explosion of insight, just a silence shaped like absence, ringed around the mold like a goddamn negative space miracle. I pulled it closer, carefully now. A tiny gasp of awe caught behind the ribs. Embarrassed to exist in a man my age. The staff was dead, not dying, gone. not pushed back like a battle, wiped clean, the way night disappears from glass when the sun catches it. Oh, this wasn't random. This wasn't nothing. The mold wasn't merely surviving, it was winning, quietly, elegantly. And I, who had once fired bullets into the muck of a battlefield, who had watched men crumble under infection, rot before recovery, I felt my heart start to do that same dumb thing it always did before a possibility. No assumptions, no conclusions, just that unbearable throb behind the eyes when a pattern reveals itself and refuses to explain. I took a scalpel. I cut a sliver of mold. I introduced it to another plate, newly spread, obedient with staff. Watched, waited. It bloomed again, creeping like a secret, and wherever it touched, the colonies shrunk away, like ink bleeding out of paper, like it was hunting. I repeated it over and over, days blurred. It worked on staph. It worked on streptococci, pneumococci, diphtheria, all gone. Always the same pattern. Death where there had been life. Order where there had been chaos. And still I said nothing. Still I kept it tucked under my coat, like a forbidden book. Was I mad? Perhaps. Amateurs chase patterns. I chased silence, emptiness, that perfect clearing where something bad had once been. The mold was a predator, but specific, selective, discerning in its destruction. Not a bomb, a scalpel. And I, who had hunted for something like this my entire working life, had found it not through design, but neglect, not with brilliance, but with accident. I was not sure whether to be grateful or ashamed. I named it penicillin after the mold. I wrote it down, described it, diagrammed it, whispered it to colleagues who smiled kindly and never asked again. Oh, they didn't see it. They didn't stay with it long enough to hear the silence. Months passed. The paper was published. The world kept turning. No telegrams, no visitors, no revolution, just more days, more bacteria, more plates. The mold still grew, still killed, still waited, patient, like truth in a locked drawer. I wondered sometimes whether I'd dreamt it, whether the ring was just a trick of light, whether it mattered. But then I'd lift another dish from the incubator, and there it would be, the clearing. A tiny circle of proof in a world deaf to its own salvation. Oh, there are things we invent, there are things we steal, and then there are things that come knocking, uninvited, demanding to be seen. Penicillin was not mine. It belonged to the fungus. It belonged to the soil. It belonged to everything that came before and everything yet to come. Yeah, I was simply the man who didn't throw that plate away. And maybe that is enough to witness, to hesitate, to look closer when the day tells you not to. Somewhere, decades from now, someone will call it the beginning, the first domino. They will say it saved millions, that it changed medicine, that it was genius. It wasn't. It was one man in a lab holding a contaminated dish and choosing for no scientific reason at all to lean in instead of let go. I reached for the trash can, then froze, because something in that mold was looking back at me, and it was waiting for someone to listen.